Hi, and welcome to your tutorial. I'm Nab from Mockexam.ca. You may know me from my mock exams or my famous IFC tutorial. Well, I did have lots of requests on preparing a good tutorial, a very solid tutorial on CSC, and here we go. We do have one. First of all, thank you very, very, very much for your trust, and I'm sure you won't regret it. Before getting serious, please don't mind my glasses. It's not for look or beauty. I do have a vision problem. Actually, I'm legally blind. I do have 15 to 20% vision left. And that's why I have to wear glasses because my eyes are super sensitive to any types of lights. And don't get me wrong, my eyes might not see well, but my mind is super bright, and I'm sure I can help you throughout this journey. Let's set some ground rules here. Rule number one. We are in this together, and we do share a single target. What's that target? Getting CSC done. Rule number two. The only thing I need from you is your full focus and attention. Let me take care of converting those 600 plus boring textbook pages into smooth and sweet lectures and exciting journey for you. Rule number three, I have broken down every chapter into small lectures. Each lecture starts with an opening and intro talking about the topic, gives you an idea what we will cover in that lecture. And then you're going to see a slide related to that lecture. And in that slide, we will cover all the details, ins and outs related to that topic and lecture. Rule number four, and the most important one, right after each lecture, not chapter, each lecture, you're going to see a quiz. And please take that quiz. I do have a reason for it. That quiz contains a questions. It can contain 2 questions or 10 questions or 15. Okay, it depends on the topic. But those questions are type of questions you might get on your final test from that lecture. So you may ask, why didn't you put it just after each chapter? Why after each lecture? Because I don't want open tasks in your mind. After each lecture, depending on how easy or hard the lecture was, you might say, okay, I just watched this lecture, I learned everything, but what type of questions I might get from this topic? I want to solve that problem. I don't want any open tasks, any thinking, any wondering, and any guesses about that topic. We're going to close it right away. And please remember, throughout the course, if you have any question about a lecture, a chapter, a quiz, anything, you name it, just message me or ask in a Q&A part. I will respond ASAP. Again, thank you very, very, very much for your trust. And we will get it done together, I promise. Let's get started. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered who makes sure that the financial markets aren't just a wild free-for-all? Who's keeping an eye on the people managing billions of dollars in investments? If not, think about this. What would happen if someone decided to bend the rules to their advantage? That's exactly where organizations like the Canadian Securities Administrators, or CSA, the Investment Industry Regulatory Organizations of Canada, or IIROC, and the Mutual Fund Dealers Association, or MFDA, comes in. These aren't just fancy names. These are the watchdogs that ensure honesty, integrity, and transparency in our financial system. For example, imagine an investment dealer trying to sell risky products to clients who don't fully understand the risks. Without IIROC's strict regulations, that kind of behavior could go unchecked. Let's get to it. All right, let's dive into provincial regulators. In 1934, the first provincial regulator was born and called Securities Commission. Each province in Canada has their own provincial Securities Commission. What do? They review and approve the new securities that are going to go to the market and maintain market integrity. They also review and approve the rules and initiatives proposed by SROs. We're going to get to SROs. SRO is like child of a provincial securities commission. These commissions delegate some of their tasks and duties to SROs. Provincial Securities Commission also conduct periodic assessment of their operations and intervene when necessary to protect the investors. As I said, every province in Canada has their own Securities Commission, but these commissions across Canada need to be aligned and work in harmony with each other. Because after all, it's financial market of Canada and rules need to be fair and almost same across our country. That's why in 1936, provincial securities commissions of all provinces got together and established CSA or Canadian Securities Administrator. So CSA is created for consistency and coordination purposes between provinces. CSA coordinates securities regulation, develop policies, and harmonized rules along different provinces, which enhance investor protection and promote fair and efficient capital markets across Canada. From 1936 to 1998, nothing new happened in provincial level. In 1998, provinces were like, we're very busy. Why would we need to take care of everything ourselves? Why not have a baby in smaller organizations so we could delegate some of our tasks to them? So a new regulatory body was established. The name is MFDA or Mutual Fund Dealers Association. MFDA is Self-Regulatory Organization or SRO. MFDA is created because mutual fund industry needed a specialized entity because the transaction volume of mutual funds in 80s and 90s were a lot. MFDA regulate mutual fund dealers, those organizations or those financial institutions that sell just mutual funds, and their registered employees. MFDA also established standards of conduct, oversee compliance, and protect investors in the distribution and sale of mutual funds. And finally, in 2008, IIROC, another SRO, is created by Provincial Securities Commission. They were like, we created MFDA and it worked out well and delegated everything related to mutual funds to them. Why not create another SRO and give another part of the tasks? That's why IIROC was born. IIROC created because some corporations are beyond just mutual fund dealer. They are investment dealers, meaning they sell every type of securities, not just mutual funds. So IIROCA regulates investment dealers and their registered employees. And also, they set industry rules and supervise compliance, protect investors in the trading of securities and related activities. So, everything we talked so far in this lecture applies for provincially regulated financial institutions like investment dealers and mutual fund dealers. But who takes care of federally regulated financial institutions like banks, insurance companies, or pension funds? The answer is OSFI. OSFI is the regulatory body for all federally regulated financial institutions. It's an independent agency of the Government of Canada designed to ensure that banks, insurance companies, and pension funds have financial soundness and stability. OSFI was created by merging the departments of insurance and the Office of Inspector General of Banks. Awesome. This is the end of this lecture. You're doing great. I will see you in the next lecture. Let's say you have 10K in savings account in bank A, and also you have 25K in your RRSP in investment dealer B. And let's imagine you are the unluckiest person in the whole world, and both bank and the investment dealer become insolvent and get broke. What happens to your money? Is there any insurance out there? In this lecture, we're going to learn about different organizations that take care of scenarios like this. Let's get to it. All right, let's compare CIPF, MFDA IPC, CDIC, and Provincial insurance corporations in 5 different factors. These 4 organizations take care of the insurance part of our securities, our investments, and deposits. Starting with coverage type, CIPF protects client assets, both securities and cash, held by member investment firms. So here, member investment firms means those financial institutions that are regulated by IIROC. For example, you have an investment account in an investment dealer A. Okay. If that investment dealer is regulated by IIROC, and if that investment dealer got insolvent, your money is safe. The CIPF will give your money back, will pay you back. It is insured by CIPF because that investment dealer is part of the IIROC. Let's go to MFDA IPC. It protects cash and securities held with member mutual fund dealers. So here, the mutual fund dealer that you have an account there need to be regulated by MFDA. Okay. If you have an account in a mutual fund dealer that is not regulated by MFDA, your money is not insured or safe. But if you have an account in a mutual fund dealer which is regulated by MFDA, and if that mutual fund dealer got broke and insolvency happens, you will get your money back from MFDA IPC. Then CDIC protects eligible deposits in member banks and financial institutions. So it's for banks, any federally regulated banks. Your money is safe. If that bank get broke, then we have provincial insurance corporations. These corporations protect policyholders of insurance companies in case of the insolvency of that insurance company. Let's get to second factor, which is coverage limit. In CIPF, up to 1 million per account type is covered. In MFDA IPC, up to 1 million per client for eligible assets are covered. So the first one was per account. The second one was per client. In CDIC, up to $100,000 per eligible deposit category. In provincial insurance companies, varies by province. For example, unlimited in some cases like Saskatchewan. Let's get to third factor, which is covered institutions. CIPF covers the member investment firms regulated by IIROC, like I said before. The MFDA IPC protects the member mutual fund dealers regulated by MFDA. The CDIC take care of those federally regulated banks, trust companies, and credit unions. Provincial insurance corporations is a provincially regulated life and general insurance companies are taken care of under provincial insurance corporations. With this line, with this row, I mean that if an institution, financial institution, is part of, for example, IIROC, the CIPF will take care in case of insolvency. If that financial institution is part of MFDA, the MFDA IPC will take care instead of insolvency. If that financial institution is, for example, bank and federally regulated, the CDIC will take care of the money in case of the insolvency. If something happened to insurance companies, the provincial insurance corporations will take care of that. What are eligible assets and what is covered by these different organizations? In CIPF, securities, cash, margin account, and futures contracts are covered. In MFDA IPC, mutual funds, cash, and securities are covered. In CDIC, savings, checking accounts, GICs, and foreign currency deposits are covered. In provincial insurance corporations, life insurance policies, annuities, and health insurance claims are covered. And what type of accounts are covered? In CIPF, RRSPs, TFSAs, RESPs, RRIFs, RAs, LIFs, and non-registered accounts, everything is covered. Under MFDA IPC, RRSPs, TFSAs, RESPs, RDSPs, LIRAs, LIFs, and non-registered accounts. And for CDIC, we could see the accounts that are covered. And also for the provincial insurance corporations, those are the accounts that are covered. Great. We now know the differences of these four corporations. You did a great job. Keep going, and I will see you in the next lecture. Imagine walking into a high-end tailor shop. The tailor doesn't just start cutting the fabric. They first measure your size, ask about your preferences, understand your lifestyle, and discuss how often you will wear the suit. Why? Because a well-tailored suit must fit your body and your needs. Now, in the world of investments and finance, this is the essence of Know Your Client or KYC and suitability rules. Just like the tailor ensures the suit is a perfect match, financial professionals, you as a future financial professional, must ensure their investment recommendations align with the client's unique conditions, goals, and risk tolerance. Let's get to know KYC, KYP, and suitability in this lecture. All right, let's dive into KYC, KYP, and suitability. What is the KYC rule? Think of KYC as the measuring tape stage for investments. It's about gathering detailed information to understand the client. Here's what you, as a financial advisor, must assess: personal condition, age, employment, family situation, and more are under personal condition. Financial condition, in income, assets, liabilities, and net worth are under financial condition. Investment knowledge, is the client a beginner or experienced and seasoned investor? You need to know that. Investment needs and objectives. Are they saving for retirement or a big purchase like a house or a car? You need to know that. Investment time horizon, the expected length of time the investment will be held. You need to know that definitely. And risk profile. This is like asking, how adventurous are you with your wardrobe? It includes two segments: risk tolerance, which is how comfortable are they with ups and downs in the market, and risk capacity. It means, can they afford potential losses? Remember, a client's risk profile should always reflect the lower of their risk tolerance and capacity. For example, if someone is adventurous, not risk averse, I mean, it likes risks, but can't afford losses, their investment should lean conservative. And it means that client has a low risk profile, so lower of risk tolerance and risk capacity. Let's get to know your product, or KYP, the fabric of investments. KYP is not about client, it's about product you as a financial advisor offering to your client. KYP is about knowing the investment inside and out, its features, risks, costs, and how it performs in different conditions. Financial professionals like you must clearly explain the pros and cons of every product you're recommending. Now, let's get to suitability. In simple words, suitability is the intersection of KYC and KYP. Suitability ensures every recommendation fits the client's unique situation. For example, when a client wants to make a trade, you need to make sure it fits the client. When transferring securities into their account, you need to double check everything is good and aligned with the client's goals and condition. Financial professionals like you must revisit and adjust recommendations regularly, especially when changes occur. Let's revisit our analogy. If the tailor doesn't take proper measurements, I mean KYC, or understand the fabric's quality, KYP, the suit will neither fit nor last. In the same way, if you, as a financial advisor, don't fully know your client or the products you are recommending, the investment might not align with the client's needs and might not be suitable. That was it for this lecture. You're doing great. Keep up the great work. And remember, we're going to get it done together. I'll see you in the next lecture. Imagine this: you are working with a financial advisor and they recommend an investment that sounds promising. But here's the question: how can you be sure they're acting in your best interest and not just selling you something that benefits themselves? Here's where the client focused reforms, or CFR, comes into play. These reforms were introduced to put clients, people just like me and you, at the center of every financial decision. Let's get to it. All right. The CFR is a rule that was introduced in 2021 to boost the relationship between financial professionals and their clients. The reforms emphasize one key principle: the client's interest must always come first. The CFR rule impacted several areas, such as know your client, know your product, suitability, conflicts of interest, and relationship disclosure. Financial advisors used to do KYC, KYP, suitability, and etc. The CFR rule updated these areas and these concepts. Let's start with KYC. We talked about this in previous lecture that the KYC rule ensures financial advisors gather all relevant information about the client. Now, under CFR, advisors must also confirm the accuracy of clients' information. They need to regularly update clients' information, especially after a significant changes. They need to review the data every 36 months or during annual check-ins. So, these are the changes and updates to KYC rule under the CFRs. Let's get to KYP. There wasn't a notable change in KYP. The KYP rule requires financial advisors to understand how a product works, its risks, costs, and features, and assess its suitability for specific clients under various market conditions. Let's get to suitability rule. The suitability rule is about matching the client's unique situation with the right investment strategy. Suitability assessments are required during account openings, recommendations or trade approvals, changes in portfolio managers, or client information. So these were the updates that applied on suitability area under CFRs. The new area that was introduced was conflict of interest. Under CFRs, financial advisors must identify, disclose, and address conflicts in the client's best interest. Disclosure should be specific, plain, and highlight risks or impacts to the client. If a conflict can't be addressed appropriately, it must be avoided altogether and entirely. The other new area was relationship disclosure. The CFRs expand disclosure requirements to ensure transparency. Clients should be informed about product costs and fees, potential risks associated with investments, the nature of their relationship with the advisor. So, to wrap it up, the CFR or client focused reforms enhanced trust and ensure financial advisors prioritize their client's best interest, whether it's understanding the client's profile, knowing the products, or addressing conflicts of interest. These rules provide a solid framework for ethical and effective financial advising. Great. You're crushing it. And remember, we're going to get it done together. I'll see you in the next lecture. Imagine Sarah, an investor, notices a significant loss in her portfolio and believes that her advisor ignored her instructions to avoid high risk investments. Sarah feels frustrated and uncertain about what to do next. She reaches out to the investment firm to resolve the issue, but still unsatisfied with their response. What are Sarah's options here to seek fair treatment without going to court? Let's learn remediation options in this lecture. All right. When investors like Sarah feel unfairly treated by a firm, the first step is direct communication with the firm to attempt resolution. If this does not yield satisfactory results, investors can explore other options like arbitration or seeking help from the OBSI. Let's break these options down, starting with arbitration. Arbitration is a dispute resolution process where an independent arbitrator listens to both sides and makes a binding decision. This method is often faster and less expensive than going to court, particularly for claims involving smaller amounts of money. What's the process? The client and dealer must agree to arbitration and sign an agreement that they won't follow further court actions. Then, arbitration brochures are provided to clients when opening accounts or upon receiving complaints. What's the outcome? The arbitrator's decision is final and binding for both parties. It's like a judge. It's binding. What are the key points to remember for arbitration? To be eligible to use this option, to use arbitration, first, efforts must first be made to resolve the issue with the investment dealer. Okay? You need to try to do the direct communication first and then follow the arbitration option. And also, claims must not exceed 500K unless both parties agree to arbitrate a higher amount. So these are the eligibility criteria for arbitration option. In the case of our example, if Sarah files an arbitration claim against her dealer for ignoring her instructions, both parties agree to the process, and the arbitrator awards Sarah partial compensation for the losses. Then Sarah cannot pursue the matter further in the court. The other option is going to OBSI. Who is or what is OBSI? OBSI is an independent organization that handles customer complaints against financial service providers, including banks, investment dealers, and mutual fund companies. How OBSI works. Investors approach OBSI only after exhausting resolution efforts. I mean, they tried direct communication, they tried arbitration, and then they try OBSI, okay? OBSI investigates the complaint and provides a resolution recommendation. What are the key features and highlights of OBSI? OBSI provides a fair and timely resolution to unresolved complaints. And second important point, it's non-binding. OBSI's recommendations are not legally binding, but firms that reject recommendations are publicly reported. In the case of our example, Sarah approaches OBSI after arbitration. Then OBSI reviews the case and recommends additional compensation. Although non-binding, the firm agrees to the recommendation to avoid negative publicity. Sarah's story highlights the importance of understanding remediation options. Whether through arbitration or OBSI, investors have avenues to address disputes without resorting to costly legal actions. Remember, these processes are here to ensure fairness and uphold trust in the financial service industry. This is end of this lecture. Keep up the great work. I'll see you in the next lecture. Let's imagine a scenario. Alex, an investment advisor, is under pressure to meet sales targets. By the way, if you become financial advisor or investment advisor or any role in financial industry, you will have sales targets, so be prepared for that. Now, let's get back to our scenario. To achieve his goals quickly, Alex convinces a client, let's say Emma, to purchase a high risk security without fully disclosing the risks. Emma later incurs significant losses and feels misled. Alex's actions could undermine trust not just between him and Emma, but also in the entire financial industry. This is where ethical standards and practices in financial markets comes into play. Let's learn more. All right, when unethical practices occur, it discourages public participation and jeopardizes the growth of the economy. What are some examples of unethical practices? Regulators define unethical practices as actions not in the public or market's best interest. Here are some key examples. Misrepresentation means deceiving the public about the security's price or value. Let's say a financial advisor exaggerates the expected return of a new stock fund, claiming it has guaranteed 15% annual growth, even though no such guarantee exists. This is an example of misrepresentation. Number two, market manipulation. It means gathering a false impression of trading activities to profit and engaging in fake trades with no change in ownership to mislead. An example is a trader buys and sells shares of the same stock between two accounts they control to create the illusion of high trading activity and volume, artificially inflating the stock's price to attract more buyers. This is an example of market manipulation. Number three, high pressure sales tactics. It means using coercive methods to push clients into buying securities. An example is, let's say, a financial advisor tells a hesitant client that if you don't buy into this opportunity right now, you'll miss out on the chance of a lifetime. You know, it pressures them into making a hasty decision without fully understanding the risks. This is the example of high pressure sales tactics. Number four, misleading clients. It means failing to disclose risks associated with investments. Let's say a financial advisor recommends a high risk fund to a conservative investor, but fails to disclose that the investment carries significant downside risks, including potential loss of principal. This is an example of misleading clients. Number five, front running. It means trading in your account before executing the same trade for a client. A financial advisor receives a large order from a client to buy shares of a stock, knowing this order will likely drive up the stock's price. The financial advisor purchases shares for their own account first to profit from this anticipated price increase. This is an example of front running. And last but not least, bringing the industry into disrepute. It means conduct that damages the reputation of the securities business. An example is a high profile financial advisor is caught using client funds for personal expenses, leading to public outrage and eroding trust in the entire securities industry. Remember, the firm that the employees that conduct these unethical practices um, work for are also responsible for the action of their employees. Unethical conduct by an individual advisor can result in disciplinary action against the firm as well, not just the employee. This reinforces the need for proper training and oversight of all employees. Let's get to prohibited sales practices. Before that, we discuss about the unethical practices in general. Now we're going to just zoom in and talk about unethical or prohibited sales practices. Certain selling practices are outright prohibited to curb unethical behavior. Like what? Like dishonest conduct. Let's say a financial advisor falsifies a client's risk tolerance questionnaire to make it appear that the client is comfortable with high risk investments, allowing the advisor to push risky products with higher commission. This is dishonest conduct. The second one is high pressure or manipulative selling tactics. We talked about it. It means a financial advisor repeatedly calls a potential investor, insisting that a limited time IPO will sell out within hours and warning that you will regret it forever if they don't buy now, leaving no time for the investor to evaluate the opportunity properly. This is an example of high pressure. Number 3, not following DNCL rule. Advisors often use telemarketing to reach potential clients. However, rules from the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunication Commission, CRTC, regulate these activities. There are 3 main points about it. Telemarketers, or the advisors, must follow the do not call list rules, or DNCL rules. Numbers on the DNCL. DNCL is a platform, is a list of people that put their name and want others to not call them. Okay, numbers on the DNCL for more than 31 days cannot be contacted. Point number 3, advisors are considered telemarketers and must comply unless exempt. Let's say, imagine Alex calling Emma after she registered on the DNCL. If her number has been on the list for over 31 days, Alex's call would breach DNCL rules. To wrap it up, ethics in the financial services industry isn't just about compliance. It's more about fostering trust and protecting investors. By adhering to high ethical standards, professionals ensure the long-term stability and growth of the market. That's it. You just finished chapter 3. Congrats and keep up the great work. A quiz is waiting for you to test your material absorption. Go crush it. I'll see you in chapter 4.